And I remember hearing him coughing and wheezing because of his asthma. And I thought, man, I wish I could get him on Carnivore. And then the opportunity came. So one day, he was like looking for a new approach, and boom, I swooped in, and the rest
Yes,
is
she did.
history.
And I'm like, just eating meat? Which I'm naturally, mostly carnivorous anyway, but I'll throw in something green every so often. Because, we've been conditioned to think you gotta have something green, something. And I'm like, I don't know. But it does sound mighty tempting. When I will say, once I gave up the cheese, which was very hard, I have to say, giving up cheese is hard. But then I gave up the cheese, and that's when I was starting to get like like my breathing got better, um, coughing lessened because my asthma was like totally unmanaged. I just like
That's
the
right. How
chest
many
cavity.
inhalers were you saying you were using?
Oh gosh, um, it depended on the time of year. I have of course the rescue inhaler. What is it? I
Albuterol
know
or Ventolin?
albuterol. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. I have the albuterol, which like I said, my asthma was so uncontrolled that my rescue inhaler, it wasn't just for emergencies. It was just to maintain throughout the day. And then there was also like the Symbicort, which is like the inhaled corticosteroid, and sometimes they switch between that, like the puffer and like an inhaled powder. It was weird. And I was on steroids when I was a kid, which, they say
Oral
added probably,
or
yeah, I was on prednisone,
wow. Wow.
which they say added to the weight gain because, prednisone
Yeah.
makes you hungry and thirsty all the time, right?
Yeah.
So I was like off and on that for like extended periods during my childhood and things
Because
like
you were
that.
having so much trouble breathing.
Mhm. And now, I keep a rescue inhaler, but that's pretty much it. I keep one.
Honestly, for those of you all watching, it's like night and day. It's like two different people, in the way, just listening to him as an audience member, listening to him breathe. Like, I knew the pain and difficulty that he was struggling through. So I would think, if nothing else, like, that is actually really convincing.
You know what? That has been one of the biggest things because, you know, you never know how important breathing is until you can't. You know,
Yes.
without the cheese, it was like night and day.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just felt better, right? I mean, and it wasn't just the breathing. I mean, the breathing was like, wow, I feel great now. Okay. Because remember when I first started, I was feeling better, but I wasn't really seeing anything on the scale. But once I got rid of the dairy as well, then it was like night and day. Like someone, just flipped the switch. And and I'm totally off of the antihistamines, but and I'm down 35 pounds. I'm always kidding. I'm like this close to broadcasting like D'Angelo in the "How Does It Feel" video. I'm totally gonna do it. But I'm a Southern man, so for me, satiated is, you know, I gotta loosen my belt and rear back and moan for 30 minutes. Gotta moan for 30 minutes. But
Yeah.
now I'm like, man, that was amazing. And I feel full. I'm not hungry anymore. And I'm not going to be hungry for hours. And if I do,
And
I
your
get to eat
stomach is still
bacon.
flat. That's the thing
And
that
it's
I
still
love.
flat. That's the
Yeah.
thing. 'Cause I'm from the deep South. Like, my family came from a small town in Georgia. Small town, several small towns. So growing up, it was the standard, Southern food, like, butter beans, lima beans, collard greens, turnip greens, mustard greens, black eyed peas. Eat a lot of that. Of course, the macaroni and cheese, the barbecue family reunion Sunday dinner staple.
Yeah.
All kinds, bread of all kinds.
Yeah.
You know, um,
What
and
about
when you
sweet
want,
tea?
you gotta have this. Yes,
Yeah.
there's like this running joke down here, and I think it became a meme because even during the height of like lockdown, when people went to the grocery stores, they were picked clean. And you go to like the grocery store and they would have like the gallons of sweet tea, but all the unsweetened tea was still there. And it's like, listen, we may be scared, but we ain't. I'm gonna drink some sweet tea, kind of scared just yet. I mean, unsweetened tea, kind of scared yet. Yeah, sweet,
Yeah.
sweet tea, lemonade, Kool-Aid, of course. And you got to understand the southern versions of these things, you're practically drinking syrup with ice in it. That's how much sugar we put in it. It's like syrup with ice. Like now my diet kind of like fluctuates because sometimes I'll be on a beef kick, but sometimes it only thing that changes with me is like what am I eating more, more of. Some
Mm-hmm.
weeks it's more seafood with like chicken and beef. Sometimes it's more beef with like a little bit of like fish and chicken. Sometimes it's all, as we call it down south, barnyard pimp. Sometimes it's all chicken week. I mean, people have noticed because I talk about it because my family is very heavy,
Mm-hmm.
like very heavy. Typical Southern folks, you know. The men are not as heavy, you know. The women folk, well, are kind of like Big Mama, my grandmother. She's passed away, but she was heavy my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And so of course I'm like, trying to get them to go, the same route, and I'm getting the same pushback that you got from me in the beginning. Like, so you want me to eat nothing but meat? Getting older, you're just so used to like aches and pains and stuff like that, and those have like pretty much gone away. My knees feel
Mm-hmm.
good. No more cricks in my neck, my back, elbows like feel good, like just general range of motion. Like I've even noticed if I nick myself while I'm shaving, I mean it's like gone.
Mm-hmm.
My skin
Yeah.
feels better. I don't see myself switching back. The which I found now that I'm like at my comfortable weight, I feel more comfortable, but I have to stop myself. Every so often there's a cheat where it's like, I'm gonna get a Taco Bell. And you do, you feel bad because you bloat
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, oh. And even if I don't gain weight, it's like it's just ill, you know. It tastes amazing, but then it's like ew. But this is like my current trajectory. I don't see myself like leaving the carnivore diet. I just
Yeah.
listen to my body, and I only eat when I'm hungry. Not and I learned to like grade the hunger. I'm not eating when I'm craving, because craving is not hunger. Hunger is when your body act like wants fuel. Craving is when like your tongue just wants something on it.